Faith's hands shake as she clutches a phone, whispering into it.
Daniel, someone was watching us.
Her voice quivers with fear, the sound of footsteps echoing in her memory. On the other end, Daniel is silent for a moment before responding.
We need to figure out who it was, before they do something we can't fix.
Daniel sits at his desk, the stolen letter spread before him. He's read it over a dozen times, but now, under the dim glow of his lamp, he notices something he hadn't before. A cryptic line. The debt remains unpaid, and the truth will cost more than gold. The words gnaw at him, hinting at a betrayal far beyond what he and Faith imagined. He picks up his phone, dialing Faith.
I think I know why our families are hiding this, but it's bigger than I thought.
Faith sits on the edge of her bed, her phone clutched tightly in her hands. Her father's heavy footsteps echo outside her door, a reminder of the growing divide between them. She knows he's angry, angrier than he's ever been.
You'll do as I say, Faith.
He had roared earlier, slamming the door. But Faith's heart is set. She's not just fighting for love. She's fighting for the truth. Her mother peeks in, her face lined with worry.
Be careful, Faith,
she says before disappearing into the shadows. The clearing looks different now, darker, more foreboding. Daniel steps cautiously, his eyes scanning the bushes.
Whoever was here last time, they left something behind,
he murmurs. Faith appears, her face pale but resolute. Together they find a single footprint, pressed deep into the earth. It's larger than either of theirs.
They were close,
Daniel says, his voice barely above a whisper. Faith's heart pounds.
What do they want from us?
In a dimly lit room, a man leans over a desk cluttered with old letters and photographs. His face is obscured, but his hands move purposefully, sorting through documents. Among them is a photo of Pastor Abel and Chief Adedayo shaking hands. The man chuckles darkly.
They thought they could hide this forever,
he mutters, slipping the photo into an envelope. On the outside, he writes a single name.
Faith.
Faith's phone buzzes. The number is unknown. She hesitates before answering. A raspy voice greets her.
You've opened a door that should have stayed shut,
She freezes, her heart racing.
Who is this?
She demands, but the line goes dead. She stares at the phone, her mind spinning. Whoever was watching them knows more than she realized, and they're not afraid to make it known. The air is eerily quiet as Faith sits on her bed, staring at the torn photograph. Her mind races with questions, but one thought lingers. Why were their fathers together? Suddenly, her window rattles softly. She freezes, her breath catching in her throat. A shadow moves outside. Grabbing her phone, she dials Daniel.
Someone's outside my room,
She whispers, her voice trembling. Before he can respond, there's a loud knock on her door. Her father's voice booms.
Faith, open this door.
She hides the photo under her pillow, her heart pounding as she walks toward the door. Outside, Chief Adedayo glares at her.
What are you hiding? He demands.
Faith's pulse quickens, but she forces herself to stay calm.
Nothing, Papa.
She lies, knowing the truth could destroy everything. Daniel arrives at the church before dawn, the torn photograph tucked into his pocket. The church is quiet, the faint glow of sunrise filtering through the stained glass windows. He kneels at the altar, seeking clarity.
What am I supposed to do, Lord?
He prays. As he rises, he notices something unusual, a slip of paper pinned to the pulpit. He unfolds it, his heart sinking as he reads the words, "Leave it alone, or you'll regret it." The handwriting is unfamiliar, But the message is clear. Someone knows what he and Faith are uncovering, and they want it to stop. Faith sneaks into her father's study, her hands trembling as she rummages through his desk. The faint scent of leather and paper fills the air. Her fingers brush against an old envelope, buried beneath a pile of documents. She pulls it out, her eyes widening as she reads the header. Land Ownership Agreement. The signatures at the bottom make her stomach churn. Pastor Abel and Chief Adedayo. Beneath the document, she finds a receipt for a large sum of money. Her mind races.
This isn't just about a feud.
She whispers to herself.
This is about power.
But before she can process further, she hears footsteps approaching. She quickly stashes the documents back and slips out of the room just as her father opens the door. Faith slides the envelope across the table to Daniel, her hands trembling.
I found this in my father's study.
She says, her voice barely above a whisper. Daniel studies the document, his expression darkening.
This isn't just a feud, Faith. This is corruption.
He says, his voice laced with anger. Faith nods.
And they've been keeping it from us all this time.
Their voices lower as the waitress brings their drinks, the tension between them palpable.
We need to figure out what this means.
Daniel says, leaning in. Faith hesitates, then whispers.
I think my father might have betrayed your family and your church.
Daniel and Faith return to the clearing, determined to piece together the truth. They kneel by the footprint they found earlier, comparing it to the shoe print Daniel had seen at the church that morning.
It matches,
He says grimly. Suddenly, the sound of rustling leaves makes them both freeze.
Who's there?
Daniel calls out. A tall figure steps forward, his face partially hidden in the shadows.
You two should stop digging.
The man says, his voice cold and threatening. Faith steps back, her hand clutching Daniel's arm.
What do you know?
Daniel demands. The man smirks but says nothing, disappearing into the forest. Daniel's jaw tightens.
We're not stopping.
He says firmly, his voice shaking with both fear and determination. Daniel sits at his desk, the document and photograph spread before him. His mind churns with the day's events. Faith's words echo in his ears.
My father betrayed your family.
He looks at the torn photo again, noticing for the first time the background, a building with a faded sign. He squints, the words barely legible. Community Land Project. His heart skips a beat.
Faith,
He says, calling her.
I think I know what this is about. It's not just about them. It's about everyone.
Faith's phone buzzes, the screen flashing an unknown number. She hesitates, then answers.
Faith,
A deep voice says,
you and Daniel need to stop this. You don't know what you're getting into.
Her heart pounds.
Who is this?
She demands. The voice chuckles darkly.
Let's just say I'm the one keeping you safe, for now.
The call ends abruptly, leaving her shaking. She clutches the phone, her breath shallow. Outside her window, the faint silhouette of a man watches, his presence as silent as it is menacing. The truth draws closer, but so does the danger. For Daniel and Faith, uncovering the past means facing enemies hidden in plain sight. As the shadows close in, one question remains. How far will they go before the truth consumes them?